Footballtribeug channel. Robert Kesakos is your usual suspect. I hope you're having a wonderful time during this international break. Those of you that were enjoying the quarterfinals of the UEFA Nations League, those that are enjoying the FIFA World Cup qualifiers back on the African continent, and anything football that is transpiring. Of course, my only country, they are losing their last game against Mozambique by 3 goals to 0. By 3 goals to 1, sorry. That's the Uganda Cranes being beaten badly. Ismail Watenga having a bad day in office. That's for that particular game, and he had to be subbed off. Our defenders didn't have a good day on that particular match day for them in office, and they do come up against Guinea. That's on Tuesday at Nambole Stadium. That fixture is one of those that Ugandans are looking out to as far as tomorrow is concerned. So very, very quite disappointing result that we did watch, but I mean we ought to recover from that loss against Mozambique and dust ourselves off and perhaps take Guinea, head on and see if we can get results. So many things happening, but that's not where our focus is. Our focus is on an update on the transfers. Could Liverpool be on the verge of losing more stars? Because while we thought almost all season that they are on the verge of losing Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk, and Trent Alexander-Arnold, Luis Diaz has been thrown in that mix, and according to better experts than I, the likes of Fabrizio Romano, do say that that the Colombian international has always been open to a transfer, including that from last summer. There's been plenty of interest from clubs in the Saudi Pro League, so we'll wait to see on that. But I think that would be a huge dent in Liverpool's project, the one whose rebuild was started under Jurgen Klopp before Arne Slot took over, to lose Luis Diaz. Just imagine losing Luis Diaz and losing Mo Salah in the same summer, and then you go on to lose Virgil van Dijk and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, I do think that would be a huge hole in Liverpool's side, and yet there is speculation that they could also lose Ibrahim Konate, whose contract is only left with a year to it. It does end after the season of 2025-2026. So clearly, it's not all rosy around Anfield. It begs the question because Liverpool have, in recent times, oftentimes found themselves in these kinds of positions where their star players are having their contracts running out before the club take action. Maybe they do take action behind the scenes, but it doesn't really look like things are really happening for them. According to David Austin, there is a silver lining in this dark cloud for Liverpool, with a chance that Mo Salah could renew his contract. That possibility is there. We've heard about the possibility of Virgil van Dijk putting pen to paper, but until they enact that, we cannot really count on them. Because the question that we all beg ourselves is that if they do leave Liverpool, where next for them? I do not think Mo Salah would fail to find a club, even if it were in Europe's elite, leagues, even if it were in the Premier League as a free agent, where I do not think he would want to go and play against his former club, Liverpool. But you never know whether it could be in the Spanish La Liga, it could be Barcelona, it could be Real Madrid. I mean, despite him being of age, above 30, that's what I mean, is that there's so much football he has to play, and he can play. He can go into that. He can go to Italy, to clubs like Juventus, to clubs like Inter Milan, to clubs like Napoli, to clubs like AC Roma, where he did play his trade from before he joined Liverpool. I mean, so many. He could go to AC Milan, very historical club there with 7 UEFA Champions League titles to their name. So clearly, there's plenty of options for Mo Salah. And then Virgil van Dijk, again, another elite defender who has been one of the star players for this Liverpool side in this incredible Premier League campaign. Never mind that in the last couple of 3-4 weeks, they've really had their season to near collapse when they were exited from the FA Cup, when they were, knocked out of the UEFA Champions League. And of course, we all know that they did lose that Carabao Cup final, losing to Newcastle by 2-1. So do let me know what your thoughts are. If Liverpool were to lose Luis Diaz, Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, and Alexander Trent-Arnold, who is being quoted by Real Madrid. So that's a public secret that Real Madrid are interested in the services of Alexander Trent-Arnold. So clearly, with all the troubles that Dani Carvajal has had to have through injuries, to the extent that Real Madrid have played Federico Valverde as a right back in the UEFA Champions League, does tell us enough that there is a hole to fill in that Real Madrid side. So do let me know what you guys think about those reports, about that news that Luis Diaz could potentially also leave Liverpool. But before we leave that news, there were rumors linking Arsenal with saying that Arsenal are keeping out an eye on the Luis Diaz situation at Liverpool. Remember, Arsenal are in the market for a left-footed winger who, of course, will be playing on the right-hand side of the wing. But again, we'll wait to see how everything spans out. But Luis Diaz is the kind of talent that any Premier League side would want to pick on them, even if it were Man City, because I do not think that Man City have any winger that's better than Luis Diaz. It's not Jeremy Doku, it's not Savinho. Even if you wanted Phil Foden to play there, none of them is better than Luis Diaz. So clearly, and Manchester United themselves, I know they are on the verge. They are open to letting go of Marcus Rashford. Reports did come out that Ruben Amorim would be willing to give Marcus Rashford a second chance, no matter how glorifying his loan spell to Aston Villa may be, that they will be looking to cash out on him in the summer for a fee bid anywhere between 40 to 60 million pounds. But it's largely suggested that they will be demanding for 60 million pounds for the 27-year-old English international. So Manchester United, whereas the rivalry between the two clubs would forbid that kind of deal to happen, we can never say never. So Luis Diaz could be an option. We all know that Chelsea are in the market for another winger, despite the fact that they've just signed Giovanni Quenda from Sporting Lisbon, who, by the way, will stay with Sporting Lisbon for next season. That's on loan. The 17-year-old will only join Chelsea after the 2025-2026 season. They also, in addition to Giovanni Quenda, sign Dario Esugo, yes, the holding midfielder, 20-year-old midfielder, still from Sporting Lisbon. He's been out on loan, I think, somewhere in Spain. So Chelsea, we all know about their interest in Alejandro Garnacho from Manchester United in January. They kept their ears open to the potential deal. We all know the situation is not working out well with Jordan Sancho. We all know that they had to let go of João Felix in January, who went to AC Milan on loan until the end of the season. So clearly, if Luis Diaz is available in the market, you would think that a team like Chelsea that buys anything that's available in the market will have their ears open to the situation. So we'll wait to see how that all spans out. Stripping away the Luis Diaz news, let's speak matters Chelsea briefly. Like I said, they've just signed those two players from Sporting Lisbon. Sporting Lisbon did confirm that Chelsea will be signing Giovanni Quenda for 44 million pounds. That's how big the deal is for the 17-year-old, who also had attracted interest from Manchester United, given that Ruben Amorim, the former Sporting Lisbon manager, is in charge at Old Trafford and does well know the ins and outs at Sporting Lisbon. But looks like Chelsea beat them to the punchline and signed that youngster, the 17-year-old, Giovanni Quenda. And then, in addition to Dario Esugo, who is a holding midfielder, I think Chelsea are looking for a player to fill the void for Romeo Lavia whenever he's out injured. We all know that ever since signing him from Southampton, he's been out injured for the most part. He did feature sometime in this season, and they had formed a formidable partnership between himself and Moises Caicedo, alongside Enzo Fernandez in that midfield, or in addition to Cole Palmer as the man ahead of the two holding midfielders and that kind of thing. So, but he's been out injured for quite a bit of time. So they are looking to find that player that can fill that void. And I think the 20-year-old Dario Esugo could be that player that Chelsea have looked to unlock. He will be joining Chelsea this summer, and reports do suggest this is according to BBC Sport that he could be available for the Blues to play alongside them when they do play in that new tournament of the FIFA Club World Cup. Of course, the FIFA Club World Cup is going to be an expansive tournament from what we've been accustomed to. It's going to accommodate more teams. Chelsea and Man City, those teams, English-based teams that will be featuring among all the others. I think from Germany, there will be, I think, Dortmund and Bayern Munich. Real Madrid will be in the competition and that kind of thing. Anyways, so there's that. But still at Chelsea, according to the Athletic, Chelsea are willing to terminate their obligation to buy Jadon Sancho from Manchester City for £25 million. Remember, the England international is on loan from Manchester United to Chelsea. That loan deal is a season-long loan deal with an obligation for Chelsea to buy him for £25 million. Remember, Manchester United did sign Jadon Sancho, I think back in 2022 from Borussia Dortmund to bring him to United in a deal that was north of £73 million. So clearly they will be taking a major hit in terms of a loss to that transfer, but that was a deal agreed. However, should Chelsea opt to bow out of that obligation to sign Jadon Sancho, it is reported that they must pay £5 million in compensation for cancelling that obligation to buy. And I do think things are increasingly likely that Chelsea may not take their obligation to buy, given the way things are going. And that would leave Manchester United with a big problem. Why? Because Jadon Sancho is their player, so to speak. So they would have to take him back to a place where I do not think they are even considerate enough to give him another chance under a new manager in Ruben Amorim. Given the way he's behaved, especially in the media, we all remember him literally congratulating Marcus Rashford when he joined Aston Villa, saying freedom at last, that Marcus Rashford had literally gained freedom in his transfer from Manchester United to Aston Villa on loan until the end of the season and that kind of thing. So you get the feeling that the relationship between Jadon Sancho and Manchester United is soiled so much to the extent that I do not think they will be willing to take him back as a full-blown player at Manchester United. So that would leave them with the problem of disposing him off. Now, why it will be a problem is if they can get a team that buys him for the right fee that they would desire. The only team that has always wanted him is Borussia Dortmund, where he shined the most, but I do not think they will be willing to cough out large sums of money in form of transfer fees. However, you do get the feeling that a fee between 20 to 25 million pounds is a fee that they can afford. Moving forward away from that, the other news has been revolving around the other news has been revolving around Manchester United is Andre Onana, saying that the club are willing to let him go. So Andre Onana to where? Not many clubs have expressed interest, but there is reported interest from the Saudi Pro Leagues. This is a player that Manchester United just over a season ago did sign for about £45 million from Inter Milan on the back of a campaign that had been in which he had been voted the best goalkeeper in Europe. Remember, he was in Inter Milan's goal as they lost to Manchester City by a goal to nil in the 2023 UEFA Champions League final. Lodri scoring that goal as Manchester City lifted the UEFA Champions League when they were winning that treble. So clearly, I do not think they are in position to demand for a fee of £35 million and recoup it, especially if they want to dispose of him in Europe. It says that he is falling short of Ruben Amorim's desires or wants and expectations from his goalkeeper, and they are setting their sights on James Trafford. Now, this is a goalkeeper at Burnley. For those of you that did watch Burnley last season, under the charges of the same company, who are playing very good football, although the results were not reciprocated in their performances, they had the goalkeeper in James Trafford, and he is with Burnley. Looks like they could be promoted back to the Premier League. So that means he's a homegrown player. He could command a higher fee, anywhere between 30 to 40 million pounds, that Manchester United would be required to lay out if they are to acquire his services. So we are waiting to see, and that kind of thing. So let's wait and see what the goalkeeping situation will be at Manchester United. But that's some of the speculation out there. In terms of strikers, Manchester United are keeping out an eye on Liam Delap. That's the striker at Ipswich Town. He scored 10 goals and has 2 assists so far this season in the Premier League with Ipswich Town. Jonathan David is being linked with the move to Arsenal. He's going to be a free agent in the summer. So there's that. Of course, we all know about the speculation around Alexander Isak with Arsenal suitors, Chelsea, as well as Liverpool. But Liverpool and Arsenal are sort of high in the rankings for clubs that would want to sign Alexander Isak and that kind of thing. So, basically, that's the gist of most of the news that is making the rounds. Thank you, Muhammad Yassin, for joining today's edition of this broadcast. So, I mean, we'll try and keep you updated in regards to all the transfer rumors that could revolve around your teams, the major transfer news. So keep it locked on the Football Tribe UG channel. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And I'll see you next time. Stay blessed for now. Bye-bye.